All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA betting video. Going to be breaking down the best bets that we have for this two-game slate on Wednesday. Let's go ahead and get into it, starting out with this Phoenix versus OKC game. So for Phoenix, let's start with them. We are waiting on injury news as to whether or not Devin Booker is currently going to play, okay? Right now, if we kind of look at his injury note, he is listed as truly questionable from a groin injury, okay? Now, this is an upgrade from what we have seen recently, but I think the way to go about attacking this slate is place bets based off of Devin Booker playing and place bets based off of Devin Booker sitting. That's really the only way we can attack it. I would assume he's going to try to play in this game, given that's, you know, the NBA Cup quarterfinals, which I don't know. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the NBA Cup. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like players want to try to play in it. So I think if he can play, he will. But a player that we're not getting bets for right now is actually Dillon Brooks, and Dillon Brooks is actually the one that does benefit the most with Devin Booker off the court. So I think that aspect of it makes sense. And Colin Gillespie is also someone that does get a decent amount of bump in production with Devin Booker off the court. And so I think that's why we're not getting the prop bets for those two. So we'll have to go into the next best option, which is going to be Grayson Allen. So guys, Grayson Allen per 36 does average about 24 points per 36 with Devin Booker off the court. Now, we are going to notice that the under is kind of the bet that we're being told to get to. Okay, we see he's projected to get 30 minutes in this game, lower scoring game, and a game that they are expected to get blown out in. I actually don't mind this bet really either way. If Devin Booker ends up playing, this only helps this bet even more. And so I think that's a bet that we can get to on today's slate. About a 30% likelihood for him to get about a 53% likelihood for him to get under 5.5 points. I think that ends up being a decent spot that we can get to. And then we go ahead and take a peek at someone like Royce O'Neal, guys. So Royce O'Neal has the third most minutes with Devin Booker off the court, averages 13 points per 36, 6.9 rebounds, and then 4.8 assists, which for the most part, that really doesn't change his production all too much when Devin Booker is off the court. He's not really a high volume guy at all. So that, you know, it doesn't really matter too much if Devin Booker is on or off the court for him. His usage actually goes down 1.5% with Devin Booker on the court, but his fantasy points go up about 3.5, which is just kind of an outlier to me. I think that's what we're kind of seeing there. If we were to place an overbet for him, I think it would be the points and assist here of 10.5. We do notice that he has been crushing this bet kind of consistently here. Okay, away games typically averages the over. We see over the last 5 games has been averaging the over. So we like all the data points that we have coming in for him. Projected to get 27 minutes. We see the one game where he didn't get the over, only 19 minutes in that game. So if the game ends up staying close, again, it's a 14.5 point spread. I don't expect that. And if Devin Booker is out, I do think that would help this bet here for Royce O'Neal. Again, he averages about 1.3 more assists per 36 with Booker off the court. If Booker even ends up playing, that's a bet that I think we could get to. But given the fact that this game spread is 14.5, I do worry about Royce O'Neal and his overs here. So did want to call this one out to you guys. It could be appealing to some people to bet the over. I think it just ends up being a bet that we're mostly staying away from. And then let's go ahead and take a peek at Mark Williams, guys. So Mark Williams has been someone that lately has been playing extremely well. And that's due to him getting a decent amount of run recently as well. So we like that for him. If we can get him getting 26 minutes, even in a more difficult matchup against OKC, that is somewhat appealing. Again, though, we do worry about the blowout. It is still a difficult matchup, even though Isaiah Hartenstein is out there for the OKC Thunder. That does concern me. We do notice that this line on PrizePicks is probably just a little bit too low. Probably should be at 10.5. So if you guys are someone that's betting on a site that has them at 9.5 or 10, that ends up being a decent bet to get to. I will place that, even though, again, I'm very concerned about the low game total, the tough matchup, and the blowout risk. But it's a 2-game slate. I can't really control what type of bets we're getting here because it's obviously a tighter slate. So did want to call that one out. And then for Devin Booker himself, not really seeing much there, guys. All the data points tell us that his over 20.5 points is not a terrible bet to get to. We look at the game log, kind of not necessarily the best over his last 20. Has been playing much better than he has lately, so don't necessarily like that trend line that lately he's kind of been not playing as well. And again, that blowout risk does concern me. So I struggle to get to Booker just in general. I think we'd be staying away from him, obviously, if he plays. And so let's go ahead now and get on into the OKC Thunder. Okay, guys, so with the Oklahoma City Thunder, again, they are going to be heavy favorites. They are going to be without Isaiah Hartenstein. That really doesn't change too much in regards to us like gaining edges because Isaiah Hartenstein is out, because we've seen him be out a lot recently. In the last game, we did see a lot of OKC Thunder players be out, and so there's a little bit of value there. But now I think all the bets that we're getting here for the OKC Thunder are basically correct, guys. Like, we're not going to get a massive edge here. We're seeing Alex Caruso for over 4.5 points. Not terrible. It does get a good matchup. Projection minutes wise, we like that there as well. We take a peek at his game log. It probably will be a close sweat. He is playing about 22 minutes, maybe gets a little bit more. He's not necessarily someone that's going to get a lot of shot attempts up. This is a bet that on a 2-game slate I could see get into, but it's like you're not going to feel great about it. We see his points and rebounds here has about a 51.6% chance to hit. All the data points again would kind of suggest that we should be betting the over here as well. Not a terrible one, not necessarily one that we need to go over to get to though. AJ Mitchell for over 4.5 rebounds and assists. He is someone that has been playing a lot of minutes this year, and maybe that's a bet that you guys like. I don't hate it, but also it kind of feels like we'd be forcing it. I mean, that's gonna be the slate, guys. It's a 2-game slate. We have to try to find some bets that we like. Chet Holmgren has been someone that's been going off recently. Don't mind him beat over 18.5 points and assists. Not a terrible bet. We look at the game log, kind of been consistently getting that over. Got the over against Phoenix the first time that they met as well. Averages the over in away games. Through and through, that's not a terrible bet. A 51.3% chance for him to get that over. I think we can get to that one. I'm comfortable getting to that bet. A bet that I don't typically like to mess with here, guys, are blocks and steals prop bets, but we are seeing Jalen Williams to get over 1.5 blocks and steals, has a 51% likelihood to hit, so maybe that's a bet that you guys like. And then from there, the board gets much more difficult as we get down into the lower odds here. So SGA to get over 36 points and rebounds has a 50.6% chance to hit. We like the game log. We like that he got it in a game against Phoenix. Not a terrible bet. I mean, people are going to like that. Just one looking at it. And let's just see here. We'll filter the call bets tabs here. And so, yeah, that's the thing. We're still not going to get any ideal bets or best bets, but we are getting a bunch of, great bets, which are bets that kind of have 2 flaws in them, but still, not necessarily bets that you would want to avoid. So maybe you guys get to some of these bets here as well. And I think I will go ahead and toss in that SGA bet. All right, so let's jump into the late night game, guys. We had the Spurs versus the Lakers. So the nice thing about the Lakers is that they are good to go here in this game. Maxi Kleber is the only one that's questionable, so we don't. We're good with that. So what we like about Luka Doncic here as the top bet on the board right now is that he got the over against the Spurs last time out, getting 9 rebounds there. Last 5 games, we like that. Very high minutes total, close game, high scoring game. I think we're going to want to be targeting a lot of the overs here. So Luka Doncic for over 3.5 threes is a bet I don't hate, but also not a bet that I feel like we necessarily need to get to. DeAndre Ayton, don't want to mess with his bets. Let's actually just take a peek at the Lakers specific bets that we are getting, guys. A plus EV bet that we are getting is going to be Marcus Smart to get under 5.5 points, which I don't hate. We do see recently he's been able to get the over. You would kind of expect his minutes to be lower, though. The Lakers have been a little bit banged up here and there. And so, yeah, I think that's a potential bet that we can get to. Don't necessarily love the game total. LeBron for over his points and rebounds at about 12.5 points, rebounds and assists. I don't mind that. The thing with LeBron and really this Lakers team is that besides Luka, it does feel like a little bit of a guessing game when everyone's active. Like in the last game, guys, I did like Austin Reeves to get over his fantasy score, and he just had himself a terrible day shooting. I do kind of think there could actually be a little bit of an edge there, kind of jumping back in on him tonight, just coming in off of that poor night shooting 3 for 16, guys, shooting the basketball. Obviously, he's not going to play that poorly every single night. He just ended up having to pass the basketball a lot more in that game. And so I do think he can bounce back. The data kind of suggests that he could bounce back here as well. So not a terrible one, but really for the Lakers, we're not necessarily getting that any great bets. So let's go ahead and jump on into the other side of this game, which is going to be the Spurs. So the first bet that we're going to get is going to be Castle to get under 5.5 assists. And instantly we don't like that. It is a good matchup for him. He is someone that if the line's at 5, I'm okay getting to him for 5 assists. But with it being at 5.5, I would agree that the under would be the way to go. Although I don't necessarily think we need to get to that bet. Keldon Johnson, we're going to see his lines are probably correct, but he gets a good matchup at 18.5 points and rebounds. You could kind of think about that. We have him projected for 22 minutes. If he ends up getting a little bit more run than that, he'd be much more in play. But given the fact that he doesn't have a higher minutes projection. Like if he was at 25 minutes, I think we'd be much more inclined to get to that. For the most part, I think we're just staying away from him. But what's interesting here is that we're being told to bet a lot of under bets here for the Spurs, which I find interesting. All the data points coming in would suggest betting the under here for Gasol. We see the underdog line, which is always a good kind of comparison. 14.5 for him. So the PrizePicks line definitely seems to be a little bit too high here. So the way I'm seeing this, and it's because I don't necessarily like love the bets by like looking at them. I think we could stack these bets here, guys, where we're just kind of going Castle, less than assist, Keldon Johnson less than. Maybe if we want to get to Vassell with points, we could do that there instead. I think that'd be the best route to go. Let's go ahead and jump into Dylan Harper. So guys, Dylan Harper is kind of in an interesting spot as well, projected to get 21 minutes, which I would say is probably correct. We might get a few extra minutes out of him. I actually wouldn't mind the idea of getting to his over assist. We're not getting a line for him just yet, but he is someone that has been doing pretty well in the assist department. Looking at this, guys, the assist line would probably be at 4 or 4.5, just given the fact that his points is at 12.5. Simple math there. And so if it's at that, I think I could actually get to his over. It does end up being a good match for him. So just be on the lookout for that. Another route that we could go is over his rebounds and assist here as well. That would just coincide with him still getting, 20 plus minutes. And that's really what we need, projected for 21 minutes. If he does end up getting that, then I do like this bet. It does feel like a bet that we're forcing. It does have a 50.5% likely to hit. Much more of a more traditional sportsbook bet though, guys. I'm showing you guys this on the PrizePicks NBA Optimizer. But a lot of these bets today are going to be bets that we're chasing on more traditional sites. We'll get some fantasy score bets later on in the day that we can attack instead for PrizePicks and underdog purposes specifically. But that'd probably be the bet that I think we would want to get to the most. I did want to check out some more Keldon Johnson bets, just see if we're getting anything here. This is always weird, guys. So here's a clearly great bet for us on PrizePicks. His points and rebounds is at 18.5, obviously favoring the under. His points, rebounds, and assist is at 18.5. Okay, so like, sure, he's not someone that necessarily gets a lot of assists. That's kind of rare, but he might get 1, maybe 2, and then we're getting a big edge here. And so I don't necessarily get this line. Let's go ahead and get to that bet. That's a very simple bet. Sure, that bet will probably get updated throughout the day. I get that. I also don't mind him to get over 11.5 points. Again, this is a better, more traditional sportsbook bet, but that also becomes a pretty darn appealing prop bet as well. So very crazy line there for Keldon Johnson, over 18.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Take advantage of that one if that one's out there. They have him at 1.5 assists as well. It's kind of his standard line. And then everyone's probably going to be wondering about De'Aaron Fox. I think the lines that we're getting on him are simply correct. I don't think there's much there. If this ends up being a very close game, I think he'd be part of the reason as to why, and maybe you could chase his over PRA, but that's kind of it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the bet of the day here for today. Just taking the bet from the generated bet slips on the 9 to 5 PrizePicks Optimizer, but again, these are going to be more traditional sportsbook bets. So I do see this probably as more of a day where we should be like grouping bets together, based off of the game, because it's a 2-game slate in which we're not necessarily getting massive edges. This bet here for Keldon Johnson, I do like, though. Again, that should not be happening, but I think we'd be much more inclined to kind of pair the teams up together, which is kind of how it's broken down right now. So if you want to run a 3-slip bet, you guys could do that there instead. Not necessarily massive edges today. Not yet. Maybe we'll get some more, but these are the top 6 bets that I'm looking at for the day today. And so that's going to do it for this video, guys. Appreciate you being here. If you guys would like access to that PrizePicks Optimizer or the NBA Betting Optimizer or any of the other tools available at 9to5sports.com, head on over there. We have tools for fantasy golf, NFL DFS, and all the other prop betting, PrizePicks and underdog tools as well for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Appreciate you guys being here. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.